Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, I want to respond to a couple viewer comments, and I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible. Number one, in Nirvana series number 2, I used footage of Kurt Cobain after the Reading Festival in 1992. He was coughing. A lot of people pointed out the fact that that was not 94 footage, that was 92 footage. And I knew that. I was using the footage as a visual representation of his chronic bronchitis. Now, there's two types of bronchitis, acute bronchitis and chronic bronchitis. Acute, anyone can get. Chronic is something that a person basically lives with their whole life. It flares up, it goes away. It flares up, it goes away. I was implying this reoccurring problem that Kurt suffered from, and I understand where the confusion stems from, that you thought I was implying that was 94 footage. I totally get that. The second comment and last comment was somewhat of a troll who discredited my entire video, made derogatory comments, and said I didn't know what I was talking about because Roddy Bottum is gay. Yeah, Roddy Bottum's gay. I believe he came out in 85 to his friends and family, and then later in 93 publicly to his fans. Perhaps you've never had a gay friend before, but being gay does not mean that you cannot sleep with a woman. In fact, I've had several homosexual friends who, after a night of partying, have ended up in a woman's bed. I think that perhaps if you get a gay friend, you'll understand that it doesn't mean that they can't sleep with a woman. It's just that they prefer to sleep with men. And it's been well documented that they slept together. They've both admitted to it. Even on Courtney Love's Behind the Music, they admitted to it. There's even an ongoing joke within the rock world that Roddy Bottum sleeping with Courtney Love may have been what turned him gay. Basically, what you're saying is because he's gay, that he's not allowed to sleep with a woman or something. I don't really know what you're getting at there, guy. Perhaps you should go and get a gay friend. Back in the 80s, when he slept with Courtney Love, he was still in the closet pretending to be a heterosexual man. It was not as acceptable to be a homosexual in the 80s. And they, in fact, slept together in 84, 1 year before he came out of the closet. So before you come on my channel and make derogatory comments towards me and my subscribers, why don't you fact check yourself? I myself have had homosexual friends who've been out a night of partying, gotten drunk, and slept with a woman. So we left off in Nirvana series number 3 with Kurt checking into rehab. He spends the night from the March 30th, 1994 to April 1st, 1994. This is Good Friday. It's Easter weekend. He has a great visit with Frances Bean, and I am convinced that Kurt followed Frances to LA. It's the only reason he even chose to go to Exodus. His divorce was inevitable. He's fighting this addiction that he has to feed. He goes and feeds the addiction. He comes back to his daughter. He goes and feeds the addiction. He comes back to his daughter. It seemed to be the last couple months of his life was him trying to balance his love for his daughter and this demon of an addiction that he's fighting with. According to one of Cobain's visitors at the clinic, and Rolling Stone, a reputable, world-renowned, well-respected media outlet, does not even cite who this quote comes from. According to one of Cobain's visitors at the clinic, I was ready to see him look like crap and depressed. He looked so effing great. He walked out an hour later. At 7:25 p.m., Cobain told the clinic staff he was stepping out onto the patio for a smoke and, according to Love, jumped over the fence. Actually, it was a brick wall more than 6 feet high. We watch our patients really well, says a spokesperson for Exodus, but some do get out. Now, this really bothers me. Really bothers me. Number one, because they didn't even say who the visitor is. He had all kinds of visitors that day, including the nanny and his daughter. The nanny may have very well been the person that they got that quote from. I don't like it when people say he escaped Exodus, escaping Exodus. This was not court ordered. It was not court sanctioned. It was something he did willingly. He could have walked out the front door if he wanted to. I think the only reason he didn't is because staff members and counselors would have got in between him and the front door and tried to guilt trip him into staying. It would have taken him 30 minutes to an hour to get out the door if he would have went out the front. So he just said, you know what? I know I'm leaving. I'm just going to hop that wall right there. He wasn't in jail. He didn't escape. He walked away. He leaves at 7:25 p.m. He catches a taxi. He goes to the airport. And on his flight back home to Seattle, where he needs to go feed this demon of an addiction again, he sits next to none other than, ironically, Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses. Now, if you haven't seen my video on why Kurt Cobain disliked Axl Rose, check it out. But they did have a feud, an ongoing feud that wasn't even squashed until last year, 2018, when Dave Grohl made up with Axl Rose. Duff does have a bit to say about the conversation they had. They did speak. Kurt's disdain was really directed more toward Axl Rose and not the rest of the band. As a matter of fact, the rest of Guns N' Roses, Duff, Slash, Izzy, they all end up becoming estranged from Axl Rose for several years as well. But Duff does have a bit to tell us about that last conversation, and Duff McKagan is the last credible eyewitness account of Kurt Cobain being alive. Obviously not the last person to see Kurt alive, but the last credible person to see Kurt alive.
Gotten off a tour and I was flying from LA up to Seattle to home. And I get on the plane and Kurt gets on the plane and sits next to me. And we took off and, he and I started talking. He had told me, he goes, I just took off from Exodus. We talked, we were drinking and...
I mean, did you talk about any of that heroin addiction on that plane journey with Kurt?
No, because we didn't want to, no way. It wasn't an addiction. On that plane ride. When you're drinking on a plane, you're not going to talk about addiction. We got to Seattle, we went to baggage claim, and he was pretty down. And a friend of mine, this guy Eddie, met me at baggage claim in Seattle. Kurt and Eddie went out to have a smoke, and my friend Eddie came back in. I said, hey man, maybe we should take him over to the house tonight, And we were drinking, so it wasn't a thing like I foresaw anything by any means. But he was down and he was on his own. So Eddie went back out to get Kurt, and right at that moment, his car had picked him up, and he was gone.
And many years later, Duff McKagan is interviewed again, I believe by Loudwire, and he talks about it again.
It's not commercial at all. It might become commercial because it's different. Yeah. Like Nirvana wasn't a commercial rock band. They became commercial because they changed a lot of things, and then Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and all of that stuff.
What do you remember from that certain flight, April 1st, 94?
Oh, with Kurt? Yeah. I was pretty bucked up. Yeah. We were both bucked up. It wouldn't have been a big deal. It was something like, even at that time, just two fucked up guys, but we were both in big bands, and we landed at the airport. We were kind of talked about. I mean, my pancreas blew up 4 weeks later. He died 2 days later. So that's where we were both at in our life, like at the end of our ropes. But that's it. I didn't have a sense that he was going to die in 2 days. But again, a lot of my friends and peers were dying around then, or had died. And I was getting numb to it. I was too fucked up to really take it in. It was like, oh, another one fell,
So by the time Kurt gets to the airport, he's in the air, it's late at night, and they don't actually land until after midnight, so it's April 2nd. Duff was correct originally. He died 3 days later, estimated on April 5th. There were people who claimed to see Kurt Cobain on April 6th, but those claims have never been proven. You can see that Duff's perhaps a little inebriated in this interview, but he does try his best to recount the situation. And I've often thought, wouldn't it have been great if Kurt's taxi hadn't arrived and he would have left with Duff? Maybe it would have altered events. We just don't know. We'll never know. This last paragraph from Rolling Stone, June 2nd, 1994, is going to be the last paragraph we use for this series, and then we are going to move to alternative sources. The next day, meaning April 2nd, the very last paragraph, they're talking about Kurt hopping the wall, which is April 1st. The next day, Love canceled Cobain's credit cards and hired private investigators to track him down. This is false. She did not hire Tom Grant until Sunday. Easter Sunday was when she called him. That would have been April 3rd, not April 2nd.
On Easter Sunday, I was in my office with a private investigator who worked for me named Ben Klugman, and we were dealing with a client when the phone rang. And then she said, well, my husband and I are kind of famous, and we need to get this done right away.
I'd like to make the point that to this day, Tom Grant makes his living off of catching those little details that other people miss. And clearly he's not going to lie to us and say that she called him on Saturday when in fact she called him on Easter. I think anybody would remember if they got a phone call on Easter, right? Also, I want to take this time to point out that no matter how professional people try to be and how hard they work to edit their videos, mistakes do happen. As you see in this comparison picture, even in the documentary Soaked in Bleach, peninsula is spelled wrong on the writing tablet. So perhaps, you know, all you mean-spirited people out there know that I am trying very, very hard to bring you guys quality videos. I really am. I know that this video is going to suffer for it, but I'm going to end it here because I'm done with Rolling Stone. I'm done with Rolling Stone, and the next video we are moving to good sources. We're going to get more contemporary, modern information, and we're going to piece together April 2nd all the way up until 2 months after Kurt Cobain's death, and you'll find out why. In the next video, screw Rolling Stone. We're going to start using information from Soaked in Bleach. We're going to use information from more contemporary articles, and we're going to rely more on facts than anything. There'll be a bit of speculation, but mainly facts, that things that we now are aware of. I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you guys in the next video, so I hope you're prepared for it. Yeah, so go ahead and subscribe if you are prepared for a bombardment of Kurt Cobain in your life. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked the video. Comments, suggestions, questions are always welcome. And I don't mind negative comments as long as they're articulated in a civil way. If you're just going to be derogatory toward other people, whether it be me or my subscribers, I'm just going to remove your comments. So you're just wasting your energy. And don't take me the wrong way. Like 98.9% of you guys' comments are awesome, amazing, positive comments. There's always that bad apple is what I'm saying. Positive, man. We need positivity on this channel. That's what we like. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.